Hey everybody, it's Let's Yoga Friday. So today we're going to focus on our hips. Our hips usually is where we hold a lot of stress. And if we're sitting, which a lot of us are doing a lot lately, the hips take a lot of that stress. So we're going to try to open up the hips. We're going to strengthen the hips and get down with our hips. So you are going to need a yoga mat. You're going to need a blanket. You're going to need a strap. Now you can use a towel. You can also use a strap, or excuse me, a belt. That will work. And then you can, for a block, you can either use a book, or you can even use like a coffee can if you have that. So let's get started on our mats. Hi, Marie. And we can get ready. So, focusing on our hips because that's where we hold a lot of our stress. So let's come into a comfortable cross-legged seated position on our mat. Or excuse me, on the blanket. It's nice to have a little height on your blanket, especially if you have tight hips. Mine are a little sore today, so I'm going to get up a little higher here. Sit on the edge of your blanket, come to a comfortable seated position, and just we're going to start to center and get quiet. So I'm sure it's been a week for most of us, and we've been doing lots of things. So we're just coming here right now on our blankets, on our mats, and spending some time with ourselves. So go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. You put your hands on your knees and take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. One more deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last one, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we're going to take a few moments here to let go of anything that we've been thinking about, stressing about, wondering about. Anything we've been working on, anything in the past, we're just going to let that sit for a while. And we're also going to let everything in the future be for a while. We're going to not worry about what's happening later tonight, later this weekend, next week. We're just going to sit here and we're going to just breathe at our own pace. And just sense in your mind's eye the room that you're sitting in. And just be here right now. I'm going to take a couple more moments here. Now take your hands, bring them to your heart in prayer position, your thumbs at your sternum, and just take another deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then flutter your eyes open, and we're here together practicing yoga. So the first thing we're going to do is take a deep breath in and bring your arms straight up over your head. Take a breath here, and then lower your right arm down to your right side. Bring your hand up, your left hand up and over, and feel the stretch on the left side of your body, from your hips all the way to the tips of your fingers. Another breath here. On your next inhale, bring your right hand up to center again. Then drop your left hand down by your left side. Bring your right hand up and over for a stretch on the right side of your body. Again, from your hips to the tips of your finger. Breathe into the side body. And then on your next inhale, come back to center and bring both hands down. Now we're going to rock back and switch the crossing of our legs so that we can get some other new sensations going. And we're going to put our hands on our hips and we're going to tip forward. We're just going to be bending from the hips and our upper body and go wherever is comfortable with you. Keep your neck and the back of your head in a straight line. We don't want to punch or bend like this. And when it's comfortable for you, bring your hands down in front of you. And take a couple breaths here. And on your next exhale, see if you can crawl your fingers forward just a little more, just until you feel that pull in your hips, just until you feel it. And we don't want any pinching or pulling. So take a deep breath here. And then we're going to take our hands off to the right hand side in front of us. And again, we're going to feel the stretch on the left side. Now, if you find that your left hip is coming up, then come up more and ease that hip back down to the ground. We want to keep that hip anchored in place. Another breath here. On your next inhale, come back to center. And then we'll take our arms off to the left. And we'll feel the stretch on the right side of our body. Take a deep breath in. Again, if that hip wants to pop up, just come up higher in your tilt, your bend over. Take a breath. On your next inhale, come back to center. And then we're going to release our arms and use the strength of our core to bring us back up to seated. All right, from here, you're going to take your blanket out from behind you. We're going to come into tabletop position. Make sure that your hips and your knees are in line. Your wrists and shoulders are in line. You want to engage the core. And again, I'm using what my yoga teacher, she says, just a polite little cough. You can feel it right there in your core. Make sure your neck and the back of your head are in line. And from here, we're going to drop take the tail and bring it up and the chin up, drop the belly. For an inhale, we're doing cow. Now we're going to drop the tail, drop the chin, arch the back. We're doing cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. And a couple more times like that, using your own breath. And on your next inhale, come back to neutral. Then you're going to take your right leg and extend your right leg toward the back wall or behind you. Make sure that your pinky toe is curving down toward the mat. We don't want to be up here like this. We want our toe pointing down. Then extend the left arm out. Take a breath here. Then we're going to knee to elbow. Exhale, inhale, stretch and extend the left leg or the left arm and the right leg. Then exhale, knee to elbow. Extend the right leg again, inhale. Knee to elbow one last time. And then bring it down. We're going to tuck our toes, send our hips back to meet our heels, and stretch out your arms into a quick puppy pose here. And we're going to come back to tabletop. and do the other side. We're going to extend the left leg, toes pointing down, then extend the right arm. Take a breath here, then elbow to knee, exhale, inhale, extend out, elbow to knee, exhale, inhale to extend. One last time, elbow to knee, extend, and then bring it back down. Now we're going to reach take your hands and move them forward toward the top of your mat just a little bit. Tuck the toes, and we're going to come into our downward dog, our first downward dog. Now, I want you to go high on your toes, bend the knees to where your chest is almost laying on your knees. And you should feel the extension here in your spine from your head to your sacrum. And then you can like pump out your feet if you want and reach those heels down to the ground if they go. If they don't, you can keep your knees bent. From here, we're going to look forward, come high on our toes, and walk toward the front of the mat. Here we're in forward fold. Bend your knees generously and let your head just hang for a moment here. Take a breath, couple of breaths, and just hang out here. Now again, we want to be balanced between the heels and the balls of our feet. We don't want to be too far back on our heels. We want to kind of be balanced our weight balanced in between the balls and the heels of our feet. Then we're going to inhale, halfway lift, extend the crown of the head so our spine is nice and long. And then we're going to come all the way up, bring your hands up, upward facing mountain, and then exhale, hands at the heart. Take a breath here, and we're going to inhale, lift the hands up. Then we're going to forward fold, exhale into forward fold. Then halfway lift, extend the crown of the head. Then exhale, bring the hands down. Then inhale, hands all the way up. Exhale, hands at the heart. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands all the way up. Exhale, hands at the heart. From here, we're going to inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands down on your mat. You bend your legs here. Come into plank pose. If this is too much for you, you can go down on the knees. Take a couple of breaths here. Then come down to your knees and slowly lower all the way down. Drop the toes. Put weight into your toes so that your knees come engage and they're kind of up off the ground. Then lift into baby cobra. Exhale back into plank pose. You can be here again with your knees down. Then we're going to exhale into downward dog. And from here, we're going to lift the right leg, bring the knee into the nose, and plant the foot wherever it goes. And again, it doesn't have to look pretty. You can lift your foot up if you need to. Then we're going to take that back foot and have it be perpendicular to the front foot. And then we're going to come up with straight legs. Now I'm going to turn around so that I'm facing you. This is where we're going to need our block. And I'm going to fix this because my head's cut off. I don't want my head cut off. Okay, so we're here with our leg with the heel of the front foot perpendicular to the heel of the back foot. Our foot is aligned with the back of the mat. You're going to take your block and put that on the outside of the right foot, or your book if you have that. Then we're going to bring the hands up to like a warrior pose, but we're not doing a warrior pose. We're doing triangle pose. So we're going to lean forward toward our forward hand. We're going to drop the hand wherever it goes here. You can grab your block, place your hand down, and then lift your left hand up. Now, if this is too much for you, you can just be right here. That's fine if this is too much for your shoulder. But if you want, you can have your hand up here like this. Now, if this is too much for your neck to look up at your left hand, just turn your head down to your right foot. We're going to take a couple of breaths here. Now, when you're in this, we're going to come up, we're going to raise the left hand up to the sky, and our body will follow. We'll come here to triangle pose. Then we're going to cartwheel our hands down, step the right foot back to meet the left foot in downward dog. Then come high on your toes, look forward, walk the feet toward the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands all the way up. Exhale, hands at the heart. So you probably guess what we're going to do next. We're going to do the other side. So inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Place your hands down on the mat. Plant the hands. Step back into plank. Take a couple of breaths here. If this is too much for you, you can come down on your knees. So we're finishing our breaths here. Then we're going to all come down on our knees and slowly lower the body down, elbows pointing toward the back of the room. Put weight into your toes so that your knees come up. Engage your legs. Inhale, cobra. Exhale. Back into plank pose for a quick second, then into downward dog. Take a breath here. On the next inhale, raise your left leg. Bring the left knee into the nose. Plant the left leg. And again, I have to turn around so I'm facing you. Plant the left leg. Spin the left or the right foot down so that it's perpendicular to the left leg. And we're going to come up, preparing for triangle on the left side. So here we're going to again lean forward toward the left hand, bring the hand down to the shin or wherever it goes. If you've got your block or your book, set your hand on it. You can again leave your arm like this on your hips, or you can bring your right arm up to the sky. And what we're trying to do here in triangle is really open up the chest and twist it this way. Even if you're not doing your hand like this, you can still open up. If this is too much on your neck to look up, you can look down, but still keep the chest open. Put weight evenly between your back foot and your forward foot. Then we're going to take that top hand, use it to bring us up back to standing. And then we're going to cartwheel the hands down. Step back into downward facing dog. Come high on your toes. Look toward the front of your mat and walk toward the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring the hands all the way up. Exhale, hands at the heart. Okay, this is our last sequence here, so get ready. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. We're going to step back into downward facing dog here. Again, we want length between the wrists and the hips here. Now, we're going to be doing pigeon pose. So if you're like me, you're going to need a blanket to sit your hip on. So we're going to take the right leg up into the sky. We're going to bring the knee to our right hand, and then we're going to take the right heel and try to bring it across to the left hand. Now my right foot does not, my shin does not come perpendicular to it doesn't come straight across is what I'm trying to say. So you can release the back foot, and then again use the blanket to sit that hip down, okay? And what we're trying to do is look back towards your left foot to make sure that you're in a line, okay? Take a breath here. And then what you can do is you can come forward wherever you come forward, wherever this hip allows. So if this is it, that's it. If you can come down to your forearms, you can come down there. If you can come down to the forehead on the hands, you can come down there. We're going to be here for a couple of breaths. I'm good on my forearms, but if you're feeling any like pulling, anything that just doesn't feel good in your hip, come up here. You can also, if this is too much for you, you can go down on your back and do the 4 for your hip. So we're going to come back to pigeon and take a breath here. And we're really going to work on releasing that right hip. Imagine your breath going into that hip area and releasing all the muscles, relaxing all the muscles. Okay, last breath. Then we're going to push our hands down and use our hands to bring us up. We're going to uncurl the back toe, and then we're going to step back into downward dog. Now, take your right foot into the air and shake it a couple times. Sometimes I like to do this and turn my foot out and shake it. And then bring the foot back down. Now what we're going to do to take a break here is we're going to come down on our knees, bring the toes together, and have your knees be a little wide here. Sit back on your heels, stretch your arms out in front of you, and lay down to wherever you can. If you need the blanket for height, you can do that. And take a couple of breaths here. And from here, we'll come up into tabletop. Put your hands out in front a little bit. Tuck the toes. Come back into downward dog. Now we're going to do pigeon on the other side. So you can get your blanket all set up for you. And we're going to take the left foot up and then bring the left knee to your nose. Bring the left knee to the left hand, and as much as you can, bring that foot out. Make sure that you flex your foot. Bring the back toes down. Look back and make sure that everything's in a line. Get your blanket set. Take a breath here. And then when you're ready, you can either just stay right here, or you can come down to your forearms, or put your forehead down on your hands. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. And again, with each breath, as you breathe in, imagine your breath going into that left hip and loosening all the muscles there. They say, breathe into your hip. and let that release the hip. And again, if this is too uncomfortable for anyone, you can lay on your back and do the number 4 with the left foot across onto the right knee. Last breath here. Now push yourself up with your hands. Untuck that right toe. Bring your left foot, step back into downward dog. And again, bring the foot up and kind of shake it out. Like I said, I like to open up the hip and shake it out like this. Put the left foot down. Now come high on your toes. Look forward, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring the hands up. Exhale, hands at the heart. Woo! We're working it now, huh? So now we're going to come to the side of our mat. We're going to have our hands in prayer position. Have the legs be a little wider than the hips. Turn the toes out a little bit. And then we're going to sit down into a squat. And then if this is too much for you, grab your blanket, like if your heels don't come down, and then put your heels on the edge of your blanket. Now what you want to do is you want to, I'm going to go to the side here. You want to make sure that your back is as straight as possible and your elbows are tucked into the knees here, and the knees are pushing on the elbows, so you've got a rebound action going here. So we're going to sit here for a moment. Take a couple of breaths. Then take your hands behind your bottom and sit down. And we're going to do one more crazy hip opener before we start cooling down. So you may need your blanket here. So fold your blanket and come to the edge of your blanket. So you're going to take your left leg, you're going to tuck it to where the heel of your left foot is kind of like right by your right butt cheek. Now, you can stay here with your right foot on the left side of your knee, on the left side of your left knee, and then try to get that right hip down as much as possible. It's too hard to put your knee or your foot on this side of your right knee. Just put it on the other side. But we want to sit down on that right hip. Clasp your hands onto your knee here. Take a couple of breaths. This is half cow face pose, but we haven't added the arms yet. So if you have your strap or your belt or your towel, what we're going to do is you're going to take the right arm straight up into the sky. Then you're going to bend the arm and essentially try to grab your scapula back here. Okay, so we're still sitting in this position. You're going to take your strap into that right hand. I'm going to turn around so you can see me. Okay, then you're going to take your left arm, you're going to bend the elbow like a cactus, and you're going to grab the bottom of your strap and pull in opposite directions. So the top right arm is pulling up and the left arm is pulling down. Now, if you can try to reach the hand of that left, the fingers of the left hand, and this is the cow face pose here. But if you can't, no problem, that's where you are today, and that's where we'll be with the strap like this. We're going to take a couple of breaths. Then we're going to unwind the arms. We're going to rock back on our hips and bring our left leg out from behind our butt. So now we're going to do the other side. So take your right foot, bring it in and bend it so the arch of your left foot is kind of sitting next to your left cheek, your butt cheek. Now if you can, bring that left foot over to the right side of your right knee. And again, you're going to notice that that left hip wants to rise up. So try to anchor it down, sit up straight. Now, if that is too much for you, you can leave your foot here on the left side of your right leg. Oh, this gets so confusing. All right, and so we're going to clasp the hands onto our knee, sit up straight, take a breath here, and you should feel this in your hips. I do. Now we're going to add the arms. You've got your strap handy. Take your left arm all the way up, and you're going to bend it behind your back and try to grab your scapula. You want your bicep kind of hugging into your ear, okay? And again, I'll do the back so you can see it, okay? Then you're going to take your right arm out to the side, bend it down like you're doing, cactus arm, and you're going to kind of put your right hand, grab the strap with your left arm, and pull in opposite directions. And if you can, see if those fingers can touch. Now I'm really tight on this side, so they don't really touch, but we're just gonna stay here for a couple of breaths as I scoot around and open the hips while we work on opening our shoulders. Okay, now we're gonna release both arms. We're gonna release the right leg. Then we're going to come down onto our backs. Ah, my favorite pose. So bring your feet to the edge of your mat. Bring your arms out to a T, and we're going to windshield wiper those legs back and forth for a few moments. All right, last pose before we go into Shavasana is we're going to do Happy Baby. So you're going to bring your right foot, you're going to bend your knees, clasp the outside of the right foot, and your knee here is trying to make its way into your armpit. It probably won't. Then take your left foot, bend it, grab the outside of the left foot, and then stay here for a couple of breaths. You can even rock side to side if that feels good. Then we're going to bring the feet down to the mat. Extend your right leg, extend your left leg, and then kind of scoot your shoulder blades down and lay your hands open. Take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it all go. Release any holding or tension in your body. Completely release. One more in through the nose, out through the mouth, release. Imagine your body sinking deep into the earth. And we'll lay here for a bit. Just let your breath go. Release all the work we've been doing. Give yourself a rest. Now bring your attention to your fingers and your toes. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Bend your knees so that your feet sit flat on the ground. And then roll over to the right side. Take a breath here. Use the strength of your hands to push you up to a seated position. Take a deep breath. Bring your hands to your heart, thumbs to your sternum. Lift your heart, lower your head. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. May your practice benefit others. Thank you. Namaste. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.